Mitsurugi Jones. Hey guys, Mitsurugi Jones back again with Disciples 3. Sanford, hand me the map. Let's check the route first. Yes, it is as I thought. We are in Arden. A stop here is unplanned, but it seems that we have deviated from our course a bit. It would be well to replenish our supplies at least. The mountain roads can be cruel, and it would be good to consider the latest news as well. You are right, of course. I will order the men to prepare themselves. Sorry, there's a lot of talking coming up here, so 1 second. We'll get to the intro. Welcome to Arden, gentlemen. Of course, I immediately recognized the Trell coat of arms. You must be the renowned Sir Lambert Weinwright, Duke of Trell. I shall order the best chambers prepared for you, and roll out a barrel of our finest wine. The society of nobles is rare and most welcome in our poor backwoods. Sadly, we cannot avail ourselves of your fine hospitality. Duty calls us onward. I am under personal orders from the Emperor himself, and I am to accompany this lady wherever she must go. But you may help us still. We are in need of supplies and any recent news. We shall also need a cunning and skillful guide who knows these lands like the palm of his hand. It has to be a loyal and experienced man, fearless, and capable of keeping secrets. Well, there is much local use, and none of it good. In the mountains, cave-ins have recently become commonplace. My men suspect that something more sinister lies behind this than nature's wrath. They say it is all part of some evil plot. But it seems that our trade routes are being severed one by one. Trolls have been spotted in the caves. So far, they have not approached our dwellings, but it can only be a matter of time, and people are disappearing in the village. They go into the woods and disappear without a trace. The villagers blame bandits, but there is no sign of them. Could it be elves, perhaps? Their border is near, and relations between the Empire and the Alliance are tense at the moment. Elves dislike guests, and prefer archery to conversation. Well then, the supplies have been loaded. We are ready to depart. Of course, sir. As for the guide you requested, there is such a man in these parts. I believe the name is Brennan Benson, though he is commonly known by the name of Greybow. There are many rumors about him. Some say that his mother was an elf. Others believe that there is no man at all but a mountain spirit. But the fact is that no one knows the mountains better than he. But be warned, Greybow serves no one. He helps where help is needed, and refuses payment. He is a protector of the common folk, so to speak. You might ask, in the town. And there's the town. Hey guys, Mitsurugi Jones back with Disciples 3 Reincarnation, Level 3, Part 1. We are finally on to Level 3, and the reason I leveled up all of my characters in the last level, as you can see, I get to pick one now to work with me on this level. I still probably won't use them that much, but it's important to try and keep them leveled up because you will have opportunities to use them down the line. I'll go ahead and choose the wizard this time around, but I'm going to get my party started first. And then, as I gain gold, I'll pick up some for that other team. Right now, I'm going to grab a couple of, probably some soldiers, a wizard, an archer, and 2 healers. I always like to have double healers, just because you never know. I think at some point during the game, they pull out Inoel, or they put her in, they pull her out, as the situation arises, and it's always good to have a backup healer just in case. Plus, the more healers you have, the easier it is for you as you play the Empire. Now, we are a guest in this land, therefore we will decide to slaughter all of the people around here. I'm not really sure why that works in this scenario, but that's the way it works in this scenario.
How can I help?
I think they explain it a little bit during the story, and we'll get to that at some point. But for right now, we're just going to be hurting a lot of these bandit-type peasants and archers and thieves. And we'll get into that. As we have seen these battles fairly repeatedly, I'll probably just set them up and then kind of knock them down with the auto battle finisher, just so we don't have, I don't have to go step by step each time I fight the same peasants or archers or whatever it is if I see a new character, I'll talk about that a little bit. When I level up one of my own characters to a different tier, I'll talk a little bit about how that changes the dynamics of battle. But as of now, pretty much, it's a lot of the same stuff. We will get, as we get a little bit further on, it will be a little bit more taxing. And for whatever reason during this level, I think maybe to break up the monotony, a lot of times they'll give you different terrain looks that are a little bit harder to overcome at times. Like they'll stick a wagon in your way or some debris in your way, and your people will get stuck in behind each other. But if you only take in a small amount of a small battle group with you, you get a little bit more experience per battle. But it's a lot harder to win those battles. Plus, I like to kind of get them all going at the same time because it gives you time to build the buildings, because you need certain resources for those buildings in order to tier them up. You gain 3 levels, and I believe it's at the end of your 3rd level, when you level up to 4, you move up a tier. And if you don't have that building built, then they'll level up to 4, but they won't change. And then you have to wait to level 5 to get them to tier up. So I like to build all the buildings before they get to their tier level. I'm not sure how that would change in the dynamics. I never really tried to like level them all up to 5, then build the building and see how it goes. Because, I don't know, that would take a while, I guess, and I'm lazy. I don't know what to say. Now it looks like I picked up some boots here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back to my wizard, because I don't need the boots. Or if I do use the boots, then I'll have an extra set of boots, and I'll just go ahead and give it to the wizard so they have some equipment that gives them some padding on their numbers. So we have a sword, boots, and gauntlets for the wizard. We'll take a look, see if it changes anything. Now it will give them a bonus, but sometimes it changes their appearance a little bit. Some of them are really cool. I think each one of your champions, or whatever you call it in this game, have a particular suit of armor. If you get the whole collection, it changes their whole appearance. And some of them look a lot cooler than others, but they're all a little bit cool. I think those boots are actually one of the things that change on the wizard, so it might be one of his class-specific boots. So we're going to roam around here, kill all the little minions to soak up as much experience as we can get, while picking up gold and stone and any items that we can get our hands on to build the buildings that we need. Again, there's a lot of peasants in this, some orcs. It's not a lot of new stuff right now, but I believe we'll run into the undead, another faction in this one, but I don't think it starts right away. I think you hit a certain spot in the map and all of a sudden you start to see these other units roaming around. So again, we got wolves, an archer, and 2 peasants, so this one should be pretty easy. I'll probably get it set up and then knock it down. Now I know it's been a while since I have made a video for this game. When I just finished off level 2, and there was a long period in between videos. I had a friend who kept bugging me. He said, dude, I want you to come back and finish this. And I finally relented. I said, you know what, I'll do it for you, buddy. Not to mention I have a little bit more time on my hands nowadays, so I'm getting back into it. I'm going to be doing more YouTube videos, so if there's something you like, if you want to see the continuation of the story, well, you're going to see the continuation of this particular series anyway. But if there's some kind of game that you're interested in, please leave it in the comments below. I'll check it out, see if it's something that I'm interested in, and we can, collaborate on what it is that you get to see on this particular YouTube channel. I like strategy games. I like real-time strategy. I like turn-based strategy. I like role-playing games. I like survival games, things like that. I'm not a big shooter guy. I'm not a big race car driver. I'm not a big sports person. You're never going to watch Madden on my channel, just so you know. Not that I don't like football or Madden. It's not something I'm interested in playing myself. I'd rather watch it on TV or watch somebody who's really good at those types of games play. There'll probably be some more guides coming up pretty soon. But in the meantime, you're going to get to see this series. There are some other games out there that I have that I'll probably do some videos on. And if you really if I come up with a video series and you're like, you know what, I'm not really interested in that, You are lucky in the way that I don't really have a ton of subscribers right now, so you guys can kind of help shape or form some of the things it is that you want to see. So take advantage of that if you can. Leave comments in the comment section. Let me know what it is that you're interested in. If you don't like something, tell me. And I don't want to do a step-by-step on each and every battle that I go through, especially with these types, because I don't think you're going to be interested in that. If we see something new, I'll talk about it a little bit so you can kind of see what it is that we're changing. Okay, now, what do we got here? Now, again, I want to take Lambert out, and I want to soak up the majority of the experience with him. Later on, if I think or feel that I need to have that second unit involved in play, what I'll do is I'll come back, split off some of the higher tier people into their party, and then they can both sort of roam around, and because it's a lot easier to soak up experience when you have at least one or two tier minions in your army. Like, if it was just Lambert and a bunch of rookies, it would be more difficult. But since I have Lambert and I have Stafford in the same party, you know, a level 5 and a level 10, it's a lot easier for me to get that experience. Now, if I just went out there with the wizard and 3 soldiers, I could still get experience, but I'd be splitting it between the 2 parties, and then it would take twice as long for all the levels, for all the minions to level up. And that's the reason I almost always go out with one character, your main character, and get as much accomplished with that. And then once you start to see those tiers turn, like let's say almost all at the same time, I get 2 knights and a tier 1 wizard and a tier 1 healer or a tier 1 archer. Then I can go back to that party, take 2 or 3 of those units, put it in his army, and then both of them can kind of tackle most of the stuff on the map. And that way, then it's a lot easier for the parties to continue to grow quickly. Whereas if you just do, let's say you take one A-team, right? That's all you have. You just got one party, and it's all the high-level tier people. And then you have one really horrible person. You're going to have a hard time keeping the map covered when you're fighting the other factions. Now, you can't do it that way. Most of the time, what I normally end up doing is at the beginning, I take all the experience I can in my one party. And each one, if I know I'm going to be facing another faction, each one of the guardian nodes that I fill up, I'll have that person go by the tier 0 or the beginning units and take them and fill up the leadership of the guardian nodes. And the reason I do that is so that when a enemy unit comes through and they attack that particular node, now they might wipe out all of it, but if you're lucky with those extra 3 units under the guardian node, they'll survive, and they'll sometimes even level up. And then that way, it's extremely hard for the enemy to take your nodes. Whereas if you leave the node completely undefended, then it's just going to come, and it's going to take it, and then you're going to have to go back and get it, and you're going to lose income, either stone or gold or magic or whatever it is, that income that you're producing in that property. So it's important to defend those. Now, you don't really need to do that until you see the NPCs start to show up on the map. For instance, when you hit the end turn button, you'll notice the portrait in the bottom right. Once it starts flashing and taking a little bit of time, like it'll show a picture of the undead, and all of a sudden you'll notice, oh wait, it's taking time. It's not just clicking and being done. You know, like it'll immediately just cycle through it if nothing's happening. But if they're moving characters on the board, then it'll take a few seconds. Once you start to notice that, it's time to put people in your guardian nodes to help defend those guardian nodes. Especially, you probably want to start with the ones closest to territory that you don't either know about or that you know is an NPC territory. Like, you could put it on the node, like you could take your wizard, grab your units, bring them to the closest node, and then do it that way. But it's probably better for you because the nodes closer to you generally have more levels, so they're more apt to defend themselves by themselves. So you want to get those new ones, the ones you just minted, You need to get units into those as quickly as possible. That way, when you move away from it, he doesn't just swing in and hit it and put a hit on your income, because that will, kill you out pretty quick. Now, in the beginning story of the Empire is the easiest one next to the tutorial. So that one's more of, they want you to learn. They're trying to kind of get you familiar with the concepts of the following 3 storylines, because it goes Empire, demons, elves, and then the undead. I believe that's how the story works out. And the Empire is going to be your easiest one, because you have healers and you have good starting a good starting area that doesn't basically try and hit you as hard as humanly possible. You don't see a lot of NPCs in the very beginning of it, whereas you start to get into some of those later on, those factions later on, like when you do the undead or whatever. Generally, you'll have the roaming NPCs coming a lot quicker. And they're already out there, soaking up some of the experience. And if they soak up more experience than you do, then you're going to be in real trouble on that. So, again, I haven't seen really anything new here. They throw a little bit different environments so that, it makes it a little bit more challenging. But for the most part, it's the same thing we've seen in level 2. Now, I believe we're in level 3 of the Empire. I think there's 4. There may even be 5 levels to the Empire. So you will get to see the full tech tree. You might not be able to see both sides. Like, it sort of splits, and we'll show you that a little bit later, where it kind of splits out. And you have to decide which ones, which unit trees you want to take. Now, some of them just have one. That's it. You just do it solid. I think that
Stand still.
in this one, the archers, so the Empire archers, I think is just solid 1 tier. You'll get to see them repeatedly if you decide you want to use archers on a regular basis. Archers are my least favorite unit for the Empire. I have a tendency to skip them for the most part. Once in a while, I'll bring one along with me, and I mean, once you get towards the end of a level, especially when you can unlock all the tiers, you're going to have ample time to buy all the buildings. You'll have income for that down the stretch. So you can have them just in case you need them for a specialty. If you're fighting minions that the archers are extremely good against, then you can go ahead and do that later on. But they're normally not super good at the beginning ones. You want to keep frontline creatures, or frontline minions, and you want the healers. Beyond that, wizards are good because they can damage multiple enemies, but the archer's only going to get 1. Yeah, he does more damage to 1 unit, but a lot of times it's more useful because the way you see the units line up, they're almost always... The battle maps are so small, that's generally the way you want to work it. Because you're going to hit 2 or 3 enemies almost every strike. And yeah, you might do a little less damage, but you're going to be hitting 3 targets for 4 or 5 turns in a row if they last that long. With an archer, you might be able to pick off an easy one here or there, but it's much better to have the frontline fighters kind of stick there, hold the shield wall, and then you can hit them with your damage dealers and heal them as time goes by. So let's see how far we get to go on this map here. Okay, again, more Empire people. We do have the mercenary, which is cool. We can easily take them, I think. They're not that tough, especially when there's just one of them. Now, if you had if you had 2 or 3 mercenaries, and can't remember the name of them, but there's a dude with a giant shield, those are a little bit tougher. You can still do it. You just probably want tier 2 or at least level 3s. So, what do we got? And I don't know why you're standing on the magic node. Nobody's going for that, buddy. It doesn't help you out at all. I guess he's worried about the mage running to the front of the line. I don't know why he would be worried about that. Okay. And this one's going to be easy peasy. Once we take care of the mercenary, we'll just auto battle through this. But probably each level that we play, it seems like the levels are pretty long. So level 3 probably will be, if I had to guess, it'll probably be about 4 videos.
I am ready.
And those are generally going to be about a half-hour videos. Again, I took the intro off at the beginning of this one because I didn't want to spoil it for anyone in case they wanted to buy it themselves. But I did tack it on at the end of the video. So if you are interested in the intro, and I'll probably put a notation at the beginning of the video, if you are interested in watching the intro to this chapter, the chapter 11, level 3, then it will be at the end of the video so you can listen to the narrator. That's not my cheesy voice acting like I do during the level. That actually has a professional narrator, and he does a really good job of it. I do my best, but, you know, I only have a certain range to work with. So. Now, in some of my older videos, I did actually change the voices up on it so that when I did it, you know, I changed the pitch or whatever for the female characters and stuff like that. Probably going to go ahead and skip that because it ends up taking up an awful lot of time, and it still doesn't sound like a woman. But, you know, I tried it. I wanted, you know, it was the beginning, and I didn't have a lot of skills in it, so I wanted to give it a shot. I wanted to try it out and see. I might go back to it, who knows? Or I might throw some funky things in every once in a while. Because I kind of have fun doing that. But at the same time, I'm trying to get a steady stable of videos to come out. And this is going to be a very long series. So let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 factions. That's 4 levels apiece, right? So 4 times 4. That, you know, that's per faction. So that's crazy. That's a lot. Roughly 4 videos per level, 4 levels apiece, and 4 factions. So it's 4 squared. It's a lot. It's a lot of episodes. So you will be enjoying these for quite some time, or avoiding these for quite some time, depending on whether you like the series or not. Don't worry, I will throw in other series, other games. I might play a little 7 Days to Die. I have a lot of games that I'm thinking about. There's some indie games out there that I've played recently that I kind of enjoy. I can't remember the name of them right now, but I will. I'll probably pop one of those videos out here in a little bit, see if it's something that you're interested in. Okay, and this one is done. I love the aesthetics of this game. It absolutely, like the stone. You see how the stone is cut into the UI? I think it's beautiful. They use the aesthetics of the game, the color palettes that they use, I think is gorgeous. And I really wish that they'd come out with a Disciples 4 or 5. I know not everybody loved it. I don't know if like the sales were horrible or what the deal was. If I ever won the lottery, I would buy the franchise if I could and make Disciples 4 and 5 and, you know, as many. I like the lore of it. They put a lot of time, effort, and thought into it. The designs are great, like Stafford's shield for the Empire is gorgeous. The main avatars for the castles, or the faction castles, they're beautiful. There's that giant angel. There's the two-headed, sort of split in half undead demon thing. I think they're gorgeous. I'll have to break that out and show it to you in one of these videos so you can kind of get a good look at it. I think it may be at the very beginning of the series where you get to see them when you first start. Back after the Empire, once we go to the Demons faction, I'll show you all those so you can get a good look at them. They're really gorgeous. I mean, I think this game was created in 2011, so I mean, they should be much more dated than they are. I mean, I think they were a little bit ahead of their time for a turn-based strategy game. But, you know, a lot of people didn't like the way that the Disciple series went. I've enjoyed them all. I played them all. I played 1, 2, 3. 3's gone through, I think, 2 or 3 iterations now. And there was a lot of expansions in Disciples 2 as well, if I remember right. And it's been a long time since I played those. I probably won't go back and play them because their graphics are quite dated. And they were fun, but especially after I'm going to be going through all the episodes of this series, I don't think I'm going to feel like going back and playing the previous ones. But if you like Disciples 3 and you like the lore and the story of it, I recommend that you go out there and pick up Disciples 1 and 2. I mean, you got to find it for super cheap now. I can't imagine them being anywhere. I can't even be maybe $5. I would say you could pick up a copy of each one of them for $5. And you know, if you have the perseverance and can deal with the old dated graphics, then...
no more.
All right, that one's in the books. All right, guys, Mitsurugi Jones, Disciples 3, Reincarnation. Don't forget there is the intro to level 3. I went ahead and put the narration on the end of the video, so that's coming up next. And that'll be the end of the video. There will be the end card after that, so if you want to check out any more of the videos, you're more than welcome to try that out. All right, thanks. See ya.
Johann's death disrupted the Inquisition for a time, and the weary travellers escaped its grasping fingers. A colossal mountain of stability in former times, the Empire was now a handful of distant islands, especially here at its border with the Alliance. Ancient maps showed that Inoel's path led through the lands of the elves to a long-forgotten shrine. But the children of Gallion would not welcome the presence of humans in their lands, no matter how urgent their mission might be. Thus, Lambert decided upon a different path, which would take the travelers into the mountains. This road was fraught with danger as well, but all the trolls in Nevendar, and a mountain known for sudden cave-ins and avalanches, were nothing compared to the unhesitating elven arrow. The mountain's paths were deadly to anyone, and no wise man would dare to walk them unprepared. Thus, Sir Lambert sought an honest, experienced, and reliable guide. This search brought the heroes to Arten.
Well, it's a hoot and a boot and a skippy, and a hoot and a boot and a bow, and a hoot and a boot and a skippy, and a hippy down do down too. It's a hoot and a boot and a skippy, and a hoot and a boot and a bow, and a hoot and a boot and a skippy, and a hippy down do down too.